Yo, I'm Drunky.
I'm the Flood.
And welcome to the Fortnite update, where we talk about all the news, eSports, and patch notes related to Fortnite. This is episode 19 of the podcast. It is December 27th. Let's start the update. Alright, Flood, this has been a somewhat uneventful week in Fortnite once again. We are in the holiday season, so people at Epic, they have families who have probably missed them over this last year. So they've been taking a lot of time. They took like a 14-day break, whatever it is.
Gross.
So not a lot of game-changing items, but there is content to talk about. So first off, the 14 days of Fortnite, the end of the year spectacular for us all to celebrate. So we can spend time away from our families and instead be in the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Force us to stay away from our families while you guys go on vacation, you son of a gun.
How you been liking the 14 days of Fortnite, man?
They're just okay. So just to explain it really quickly, basically every day they give you a new challenge. You've got a new challenge in your challenges area that has 14 days. Every day it's a reveal of what you have to do. Some are like throw boogie bombs or just silly stuff like any regular challenges. But you're getting items almost every time, either a new spray or an emote. Or my favorite one was on Christmas Day. I think it was the back bling with the little ginger guy in the backpack. It's so funny and so cute, and that's such a good back bling. Like he dabs when you kills, it's hilarious. So
he dabs when you kill. Like when you get rezzed, when my partner rezzed me, his gingerbread man laughed at me. It's just hilarious, man. It's
such a good joke.
It's the best pet they've ever added to the game. It's like the best realization of what that item slot should be, and it feels more special. And I think it's because it's the first time it's like a character that has human features, right? So it's more understandable to us. I
feel like they're going all in on the gingerbread characters now, and I love it because they're just so funny and intimidating and the best. They're awesome, and I think it's adorable. And you know what? And I know that I think I've seen leaks on some of the stuff that's coming out. I'm not 100% on what's coming out with 14 Days of Fortnite, but anything that's giving us cool free items, and why not? It's easy, it's fun. It keeps you engaged over the holiday season, gives you something to do. Yeah. While they're tinkering with drift boards, I guess.
And every day that there's a brand new game mode inside of the 14 Days of Fortnite. So there's always something fun to do. Some of my personal favorites, the icy game mode is one of the funnest versions of Fortnite I've ever played in my life. What it was is you had permanent ice on your feet, so you were sliding everywhere. You could jump twice as high. You had a grappler that was infinite ammo.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was just a shotgun flick fest. It was just an absolute hysterical blast. It's that's what I want game modes to be, completely out of left field, completely fun, and it just a break from the regular sweatiness of Fortnite,
Some of my favorite fights happen at where Greasy Grove is now, and it's covered in ice. Because whenever she got rid of the chiller traps and they iced over Greasy, they changed the way ice feet mechanics work, and it's so much fun. You get so much momentum, and you can bounce off small bumps and go flying. And I don't know, I find some of those are just because it's one little contained area of the map, it's hard not to get annoyed by it. Yeah. Because it's so much fun when you do happen to fight there. I don't know, I enjoy it quite a bit.
The one thing Icy made me realize is can we? And I can't believe I'm saying this. Can we bring chillers back? Now that we have fixed the ice mechanic, can we bring chillers back to the game? Because I would love to have this, dude. I would love for the chillers to be a movement item where you can grapple and slide and go up ramps and stuff. That was the problem with them before. They fixed it. They figured it out, and it's gone now, man.
I will say, speaking of that, though, the mechanic is still not 100%. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but anytime you do go on ice, sometimes when you go off it, at least I get this, and I've talked to at least 2 other people who have this, where you get these little janky movements, and you have to go back on ice, refuse your feet, and then come off, and then it'll work again. You'll be okay. It's kind of like the cornfield glitch, where when you get the cornfield, sometimes if you walk back in, walk out, sometimes that fixes it. There's a couple of those weird little glitches that just when you guys are back from Christmas holiday.
The other game mode that was a big standout was the one from today that I played before we recorded. It's called Ground Game. One of the most mind-blowing jumps at how they're approaching testing stuff out, I guess. Ground Game is just like normal squads, except for the fact that you only have 70 mats total, not 70 each total. So you have 30 wood, 20 brick, and 20 metal. God. That's it, man. And they want you to use the actual cover of the game. This is not about build fighting. This is about who's better at positioning and shooting, man. It's a blast,
I
dude.
love this idea. I haven't actually had a chance to try this yet, but you just describing it, I was loving it. It just sounds like season 1 again, where people are like, I'll build one ramp and one wall, and that will be it. That's all I will do. That is the difference between this and any other battle royale now. It makes it very much a shooter, which is really interesting in Fortnite, because Fortnite's a game with bloom, which encourages really aggressive movement and closer up interaction, and those build fights. Like, a lot of that stuff, like, everyone gets mad about bloom, but it's part of the reason that Fortnite works the way it does. Otherwise, it becomes Counter-Strike with infinite perfect shots, and then it becomes this game that we're playing right now. So bloom actually encourages a certain type of gameplay that we all fell in love with Fortnite. So it's, give and take on that side of it. But this idea just sounds so much freaking fun. And the people who are mad about pop-up cup mat caps that got down to like 500 or 400 or whatever, I can only just imagine them but I think this is a really nice change of pace to make you realize how different the game can be with such a simple change. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's like you said, with the bloom, the AK-47 is just a murder in this mode, man. When people can't build against it, the scoped AR becomes a murderer. Like, you don't have to worry about shooting people's walls down. All of a sudden, this entirely other set of weapons like opens up to you. Explosives completely overpowered. Deagle's completely overpowered. Port of the Fortress is completely overpowered.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's still fun. It is still fun to play in, and I love it, man.
Yeah, it forces you to scurry around a little bit. I love the idea of it. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, I love that they used 14 days of Fortnite to try these really like crazy innovative modes that are here for a day. Let's just like rapid fire them out and see what works, see what doesn't, and then like hopefully they'll bring back like stuff like icy mode and ground game in the future.
It's like the ground. They had a brainstorming session, and all the ideas they weren't going to use, they decided to throw into this.
That's the end of the year.
The top 14 ideas that they were like, okay, well, these ones almost made it. Let's just pop into this and see what happens.
Yeah. All right,
it's a good idea.
I loved it, man. Let's talk about Christmas Day inside of Fortnite, because something that we are all kind of complaining about actually happened. The entire map was snowed over on Christmas. You woke up and it was like a beautiful Christmas morning where snow was, you could go to Paradise Palms and there was snow covering the ground, man. Like, what a trip it was to play that day.
Yeah. The whole shebang. I played like into the night that night. So I started off with regular, and then all of a sudden everything got snowy, and it was just neat. It was just fun to see. It was really, I don't know, there was something magical. It was, just like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I don't know. It didn't do anything to the game, and everyone was joking about pay to win skins, and I tried wearing that like white suit skin and pretending I was invisible. It doesn't really work that well. I'm going to point that one out. It's not actually pay to win. Damn. But it was just pretty. It didn't really change the game in any meaningful way. It was just fun. It was pretty. I liked it. It was neat. I'm surprised how quickly it went by.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised it only lasted a day. I expected at least a week of that. And then some people were complaining like, well, what do you mean it's melting and there's snow? I'm like, you've clearly never lived in a northern climate. That happens all the time. So get out me with your logic. That shit happens anytime the temperature's dancing around 0 Celsius. Canadian, sorry. That's just the way it is.
And I'm like, why do people continuously try to bring in like realism into Fortnite? Like, are you
get
kidding?
On my face with that.
You just built a wall in a second that's metal, bro. Like, just shove it, okay?
Yeah.
I was completely surprised at how fast this was here and gone. I thought this was going to be like, it's snowing out and we're going to ride this out to the end of the season, and like that's kind of be like the evolution of the story. Like, how does this like come to like not be an iced over map anymore? Turns out, wake up on December 26th, and it's over with.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to be more part of the map storyline. Instead, it seemed like a reason to log in, to force people to log in on Christmas Day to get a chance to see it.
Yeah.
That was basically what happened. It's like, oh, okay, it's gone now. But I don't think anyone realized that, so I don't think anyone was in a rush to log in just to see that. Like,
exactly. I definitely.
It was pretty though. It was neat, I guess.
I played a lot on Christmas. I wish I would have played more, just because I actually was having a good time running around on this map and just seeing it like covered in snow. Like, it was just fun for me. So
yeah, it just changes the aesthetic and all that. It's so dumb, but that just alone makes it more interesting again. It kind of refreshes your interest in, I want to go see that point of interest now. I want to go see that point of interest covered in snow, just because I want to see it again. It's been a while since I've been over to Wailing Woods, and I've never seen it covered in snow. So let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just gives you kind of a little exploration vibe that was fun, even though there wasn't really that much to explore, but whatever.
No, I loved it, man. And I think that's about it for the 14 days of Fortnite. We're going to get some more gives here and there opening up after the challenges. But I think we're pretty much done with like what they're going to do in terms of like big events. Like, we're going to have more skins. I think the shiny wraps coming out for New Year's. We're gonna maybe get
that'll be good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get some more game modes, and then I think that's kind of it. I think they did it pretty well. I think Christmas this year, this feels like the biggest seasonal event so far. Like Fortnite mirrors was a big thing, but it was like a little bit too much, and this is more of like a back end. You can have this, and it's gonna stay here forever.
Well, see, Fortnite has changed the actual mechanics of the game, whereas 14 Days of Fortnite is just like, here's some aesthetic fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than, I guess, adding like Christmas trees with more loot, but like that's such a minimal change that doesn't drastically change the mechanics of the game, and it's not happening in the middle of a major event like tournament or something. So I think that this was exactly what you want out of a seasonal event. It's fun, it's cute. Mm-hmm. You're giving your player base some free swag. That's always kind. Everyone's into that. I'll take a new back bling that's awesome and hilarious. Like, thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, Epic.
So we kind of, as a podcast, we're like scratching our brains about what we were going to talk about because the driftboard still hasn't come to the game. There still isn't like a big, Polar Peak is still melting, but there's not this big event going on. That's kind of like a slow burn. So, like, there's just not that much going on in terms of like mechanically what we can talk about in Fortnite, right?
Yeah, no major updates in the last couple of weeks, which is like for Fortnite, that's wildly rare. They're usually breakneck pace of tinkering and tweaking. So we kind of want to take a moment and just kind of do an end of the year like state of the game. What do we think about Fortnite? It's the end of 2018. If you would have seen this game at the beginning of 2018, we're in a radically different place. And I don't think that many games can say that. If you look at H1Z1 at the beginning of the year, pretty much still the same game. Counter-Strike, pretty much still the same game. Overwatch, pretty much still the same game. Fortnite, completely different, from the evolution of like building mechanics to the guns they're adding, the guns they're taking away, the vehicles they're adding. Man, like this has been stuff you never would have expected, like just never would have seen coming.
I've never played a game that changed this much in a year, man.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to remember that it's really only been just over a year of this battle royale. Mm-hmm. Like it's just barely over a year. And again, like playing in that ground mode felt like season 1 again because you're just building wall, ramp. Like think about how much building has changed and the meta of us as a player base has changed and how much the game has had to evolve to keep up with that meta and keep that happy. And then everyone loses their mind over one thing. But it's like, well, 2 seasons ago, that was totally fine. And like, it's just a whole other ballgame. And it's impressive what they've done in a lot of really important ways. And I think instead of just railing on them for not making certain changes, we need to remember that they've done amazing things here.
Yeah. Let's talk about SMGs first. What the state of SMGs is. When SMGs first started the year, it was like the days of the double pump. No one wanted to use SMG. Slowly after a lot of mechanics changes to shotguns, the attack SMG came to be, and then we had like the drum gun and then the P90. What do you think about SMGs in the game right now? You think like this is the best state they've ever been in, or like are we losing our mind with how good they are?
Okay, so I almost don't even run SMGs most of the time,
really?
Which is interesting. I'll use that slot sometimes for an SMG, but sometimes I'll replace it with a RPG, or sometimes I'll replace it with a Deagle or whatever. That's kind of my weird flex spot. I feel like for me, SMGs fit into a flex spot right now because with a good AR, like a blue AR or above, like a SCAR or something, and a shotgun, now that the shotguns have been buffed, which we'll get to, between those two, that's like the core. Everything else can pretty much be heals and utility in my mind.
Really?
So I'll give the flex spot to the SMG sometimes. I think the P90 is really strong and really good. I like it a lot. SMGs are great, especially early to early mid game. But after that, I find that the AR is generally more useful unless I'm playing a really up in your face style, in which case maybe I'll go SMG pump grappler, something like that. But I have to make a conscious decision. It's a lot easier to have a more rounded, all like kind of any kind of situation outfit, which is, again, as I say, like a SCAR, solid pump, grappler, whatever it is, or heals and utility. Like that's where I'm at with SMGs. But I think I think that's probably honestly kind of a good place for them. I don't know.
I think they're in a really good place, and I think that I definitely use them more than you, and that's because I think I have a different play style than you. You're a little bit more methodical. You like to like take a longer range engagement, where I think I'm typically more like I just want to straight W key people and like
jump in.
Get in their face as fast as I can. And you kind of get punished sometimes for not having an SMG in those types of situations. Because like a lot, when you're going into someone's box, if you can't rip them real fast, you can get trap killed. They can edit you out of somewhere. That's where I feel like the SMG in my kit is like really important.
100% true. And actually, you know what? Like I often run the SMG now that I think about it I put it in my sniper slot.
Okay.
Until I get a good bolty. And then I'm like, well, I got to give up something. and I want to keep the bolty. So sorry.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll often lose it. So it's a hard one for me to carry all the time, but I do use it. But it's kind of in weird. It's just it's a depends one. It's not a core key for me.
Yeah, and what I think is weird for me too is that until the AK came out, I was open to running a Scar pump combo, right? But now that the AK is here, I think the AK I feel like you have to run an AR, or I'm sorry, AK as your
SMG.
AR. If you're gonna take an AR fight. If you don't have one and someone has AK in their inventory, I think you get outgunned 95% of the time. If if your aim is good enough, you can just melt people with a AR. But what you can't do is fight close range with it. So,
if I'm running an AK, I run an SMG. I agree 100% with what you're saying right now. And if you've got like dead on aim and you're playing especially high level scrim style where every shot counts and you can get that first AK headshot, you're 100% correct, I think.
Yeah. So SMGs, man, like I actually love where they are. And I remember, kind of like into season 5, everyone was asking for them to be like nerfed or whatever because the shotguns were just terrible. And I was like, dude, I don't want the SMGs touched. They actually feel satisfying now. It feels good to like be able to tear into somebody with SMG. It does the damage I think it's going to do when I'm shooting somebody. Like it feels good.
It feels correct. Yeah, specifically the P90, I would say, for me anyway. The problem with SMGs wasn't the problem with SMGs. The problem with the SMGs was back when the drum gun existed, because it was a quote SMG, and that was the problem. That the whole meta was just a goddamn nightmare because that was way too good. As soon as you got rid of that, the rest of the SMGs were essentially fine.
Yeah. Well, before that,
here and there, but
before that, they definitely had the first shot accuracy added to them, and they had their like damage increase, and that's when we lost the tack because it was so good with the damage increase. And then they gave us the drum gun, which I don't think I've ever been close to quitting this game except for the drum gun era. And I know a ton of people were like loved it, but for me, like I was gonna quit this game like full stop when the drum gun wasn't looking like it was gonna get removed.
And people complain about low skill items that are overpowered. That was like the epitome of it. Like I'll take planes over drum guns. You know what I mean? Like get out of my face with those drum guns. They were the worst. They were the lowest skill, most frustrating, most overpowered. Like you couldn't win the game without one essentially at that time in that timeline. And they were just so dumb. Like they were too good.
Dude, the day they took them out and I was fighting people and I could tell that they were like the people who use the drum gun as a crutch, it was like my happiest day I've ever experienced, dude. I was just like, I knew you'd be using a drum gun, but now you're dead. Sorry, bud.
Like the sword was barely more overpowered than the drum gun. You know what I mean? Like it was so bad.
It was the Infinity drum gun, let's be honest. Like I don't know why they made that thing purple. It should have been golden or whatever.
Yeah, the drum gun was a mythic item.
Yeah, it really was. Let's talk about shotguns in the game, because I think the shotguns have been on the biggest roller coaster out of all of it. I think a lot of people fell in love with Fortnite because of the way shotguns operated. They have this mechanic called the double pump, which is still one of the biggest debated items combos of gaming I've ever seen in my life.
Sure.
Where you could
people won't stop talking.
No, you could rotate your bumps back and forth. You basically were running a pump shotgun that had like 16 shots in it.
And ran super quick fire rate.
And then, they added a shotgun delay mechanic. They had it to where you couldn't swap even between a pump shotgun and a tac shotgun. And basically, like, shotguns were in a really bad place, I think, for the last 6 months until they increased the damage on them.
Yeah, and they were awful for quite a while. Not awful. I mean, you still kind of used them, but they just really didn't feel satisfying. It felt like they had always let you down. And a lot of it came from trying to nerf the double pump, which I think just nerfed shotguns. Like it just ruined that whole section of the game. And I hate to say it, but shotguns are always going to be, and a pump shotgun should always be, one of the most satisfying things in any shooter. It always is. It's always your favorite gun in most shooters. You know what I mean? It just feels good to one tap someone in a really satisfying way when you know you nailed it correct. It should reward you for that. And I think the 3 pellet damage increase that they did, the 3 pellet minimum, really helped with some of the weirdness that can happen with latency issues and stuff. I think they really did a good job of bringing shotguns to a better place. I find that now one of the most debated things that people will give me trouble over is if I ever pick up a heavy shotgun over a pump. Now people lose their mind in my chat, and it's so funny to me because everyone says I should use an SMG if I'm going to be fighting them at that range. I still find the heavy shotgun to be really good, guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone and maybe I'm not like crunching the numbers correct, but I still find that fire rate to be very useful because I get to shoot you twice still before you can pump me twice. And so if I'm nailing those shots, you're going to die. If you nail that one perfect shot on me, sure, you got me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can hit you twice and I can hit you at more effective ranges. I don't know. I still like, I'll color up with the pump still. I'll still go into the gold pump if I find it.
Yeah.
But I still find the heavy shotgun has a place. Where do you land on the heavy now in the new?
The heavy's in a weird place for me because the only thing I'll take it over in terms of shotguns is, if I'm running a green pump, I'll swap out for a heavy. And I do that because of the potential of the damage, right? So a green shotgun can't like all in somebody. You can't 100% kill somebody with it. You can't do 200 damage. But with a blue pump shotgun, you can. And that's what I'm looking for. Maybe it has a better effective range as a heavy, but I'd rather get in a good enough position, or if I get caught and I'm forced into position, I'd rather have an item that I can do 200 damage with to their head. And that has saved me so many times and gotten me out of like some really bad situation where someone's just drives into me with the SMG and I can just like 200 them real quick. I'm like, I can't do that with the heavy. Now where does the heavy go? I don't know. They should probably increase the speed of his shot to where it is just the upgraded tack. You know, it just,
because that's pretty much how I consider it as an upgraded attack right now. Like it's essentially where it lands.
It is, but it's slower than attack. So a lot of times when I'm using the heavy, I'm like, man, I wish I would have had a blue tack right there because the shot is just so much faster. So I think for the heavy to operate right, I think they have to increase the speed of the shot a little bit for it to have its own place in the game.
But just a hair is going to get overpowered, I think. Just like a tiny millisecond of increase. But I still find, as I say, that fire rate, if you don't one pump me, if you don't land that headshot perfect and I had full shields and I'm still got 30 health or 40 health or something, I'm going to beat you with my heavy, like more often than not, I find, because I get to hit you twice. Yeah. And most heavy shots are going to hit hard. So twice with the heavy is going to work. I guess what I would love from it is like if it became the standard for people like you who want to run an AR and a shotgun only, the heavy becomes a better option than the pump for that because it can shoot faster. And so there's a little bit forgiveness for you not having an SMG. I think that puts it in a good place, man. And I think that's, because I'm not running the SMG as much, that's probably why I'm starting to favor the heavy a little bit. And I don't fully favor it. If I see the purple and the gold pump, I'm going to take it. Yeah. I usually just color up. Honestly, like I'm kind of lame about it. I try not to crunch the numbers too much. I just color up, generally speaking, with most of my guns. Just easier. And like, I have a good time. I think when it comes to the pump, everyone talks about it being comboed with, the pump SMG combo, right? Which I think really does a disservice and maybe is why a lot of people get stunted in like their Fortnite growth. The pumps combo is a pump build. If you can pump and build or pump and re-edit a wall, that's where the strength of the pump comes out because you're that close to do that type of work. And you just have the SMG for like unique moments to like finish people up. And pro drunky chip, the way to do that, keep your mouse button down. Don't change it. Yeah. Click the mouse button and then press your wall button. You're done. Yep. And keep holding because there is a build delay and like it's frustrating, but it's there. And because the servers have been degrading slowly, the delay is even more noticeable now because it's not the actual delay it should be. But if you know how to do that, the community jokingly calls it like the Tfue special, where you can shoot someone below you and then build a floor above them. And like you continuously do that. That's where the strength of the pump is. It's not pump SMG, it's pump build. And for like, there is nothing more classic to me about Fortnite than like a pump build combo. Like it's the most unique thing in gaming. It's why I fell in love with this game. Like that's why like finally the pump's back and I can like have fun with this again. Yeah. And then it is really, really fun. I 100% agree with that. And again, like, I don't know, that's a unique part of this game that is so satisfying that I agree. The moment you build that shield and they can't hit you back, you're like, yes, without a wall. And then you ramp and then you get into a little build fight. And it's like, who can position themselves right to get the next pump build? Yeah. You know what I mean? It becomes a little back and forth. I don't know. It's really fun. Yeah, it really is. All right, let's talk about the Porta Fortress because it should be removed from the game because it's too overpowered, Flood. I mean, sure, whatever. I still don't care about it. I know I can't understand your hatred of this item. So like, it's sure, remove it from the game, keep it in the game. I honestly don't care. I just don't care. It's not that good. I don't know. It's 1,000 metal instantly built.
How dare
I mean, sure, and that's really obscene in the very early moments. If it's their first item, it can get. But honestly, I find it works as a great like fight reset in the early game. Sometimes, like you can use that and then run up it, build a little floor on the thing, and then bounce away or do something. Like it's mostly a fight reset because if you've got even 100 build, you can climb up it and like nothing. That's no big deal. I don't know.
I don't
understand why you have so much trouble with this.
I hate it. I despise it. I think it goes against everything that is built like with integrity. Like people who spend time to learn to build to get height. It just goes all against that, man. It's so huge. It's so overpowered.
But no one is using this to like compensate for their lack of build. If they are, it gets them of one fight per game. If they happen to get it one in that game, like who cares? Like it's such a non-issue in my head. Like I don't know. I don't feel like it doesn't affect the game that much.
Why can't we go back to where when you would throw it down, you like the walls would be building when you threw it down? Now they're instantly built. The hell, man. Before, you could like, this got thrown down. I can take 2 swings at it and open up the wall real quick and get on up. Now you have to take like 5 swings to open her up, man.
That would be a lovely. Just make it out of brick. What if it was made out of brick? Would that work for you?
Why don't we make it out of wood?
All right. Whatever. Again, I just don't care about this item. Like I don't care for it or against it. To me, it's such a non-issue item. It's like, sure. Sometimes I've reset fights with it and that's really handy. Other than that, I just don't give a damn. Like it just doesn't exist.
All right, let's move on to vehicles because we'll just agree that to say I'm right, and we'll move on to vehicles. When Fortnite started, one of the most unique aspects about it was that it did not have a single vehicle in the game. This is all based on you had to run on foot, you had to use a jump pad, or use your builds to move around. Now we have 4 vehicles in the game. We started out with the shopping cart, which was a very like dip your toes into the pool, see if it's like cold or not. Then we moved up to the ATK, which was or the golf cart. Then we moved up to the quad crasher, an ATV that can destroy builds, and now we are finally at the X4 Stormwing airplane that has a turret and can break builds. Ooh, ooh. What do you think about the evolution of the vehicles in Fortnite?
It's hilarious to think that we started at a shopping cart and now we've got a goddamn airplane, like with a jet engine that can crash build. Like it's hilarious. When was the last time you used a shopping cart? Remember how hilarious those were when they first came in? Oh my god!
I think the last time I used it is when they added balloons to the game so that I could float up to the build ceiling with you and get ourselves killed. That's the one time I used a shopping cart, bro.
Oh, it's such a blast. Like, it's so funny, man. Like, it's just crazy that that's the mechanic that they've added. It's such a weird path and journey that they've taken us on. I think maybe now that we've gotten to planes, maybe we've gone too far. And we've discussed this before. Planes shouldn't be quad crashers. Quad crashers occupy a unique space. I think the golf carts work out really well. It's fun, actually, now when I happen to jump into an ATK or a golf cart. I'm like, oh man, it's like a stealth mode quad crasher because it's so much more quiet. And it's actually kind of weirdly refreshing to use. It's like, it's just a normal vehicle. It's just a vehicle. It just takes you places. This is what vehicles did back in the day. And it's kind of refreshing. You know what? I still like all the movement in this game. So I feel good about the vehicles on the most part. I've read some interesting ideas on how to nerf planes and get them into a better spot. And I think on Reddit and whatnot. And I think that they can be taken there. And I still like that they keep adding more things that make this game more interesting, more memes, more fun. I think that when we finally do get drift boards, the idea of them doing like Tony Hawk level tricks and stuff is going to be really funny and hilarious. And if they work, oh God, I'm really eager to see how they implement them. I'm so nervous. Yeah. Cause like it could go really, really great, or it could be just an absolute nightmare. And if they work like quad crashers, I'm out of this game. Like, stop it. Stop it. Stop making everything a quad crasher. Man,
I'm in a weird place with the vehicles because one of the things that really drew me to Fortnite was the lack of vehicles. I remember telling like my brother, like, I love that there's no vehicles in this game. It's like there's nothing that move you fast. Like if you made a mistake on positioning or rotation, like you have to deal with it, and like you have builds to deal with it. Like that's something that's very cool about this game. Shopping carts, I felt like Fortnite. I thought I thought the golf carts felt like Fortnite. It's ridiculous. You don't think it should be there. It's there. Quad Crasher felt like the first item where I'm like, oh man, like this is really fun, but we're pushing it, dudes. Like we're at the line. And then the plane got added, and I feel like we didn't just go past the line. They flew past the line, man. Like they not only
literally
is this thing the fastest thing in the game, It has the most mobility because it's an airplane that can go wherever vertically. But it has a turret and it has build breaking capabilities. Incredibly fun. It's an incredibly fun mechanic and plan. I don't understand what was going in their mind for like the long-term health. Like, do you really think this is going to stand the test of time? Like this, once people figure out how to really use planes, that this isn't going to be too overpowered. Before I get into like how I think we should fix planes, the biggest thing for me is like they have made Fortnite almost drum gun levels of unsatisfying for me. It's not that like I hate the planes. I'm nowhere near satisfied. I go kamikaze somebody and kill them when I get out of a plane. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel rewarded by it. It's just like, yeah, I did that. And then when I'm in fights and build battles, people do it to me. So it's like there's a lack of satisfaction because of the planes.
I actually generally feel a sense of guilt. Yeah. I did that in a pop-up cup where I smashed into a build and I killed the guy as soon as I hit him on impact. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That's all I could say. Like I said that like live. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't. They're in the game. I'm sorry. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I feel guilty using them in that way, but it's so effective. So like you know,
why wouldn't you use it? You know, and like people say that all the time to me. They're like, I thought you hated planes. I'm like, I do, but like I've hated a lot of stuff in my life that I've done. Okay, and I like do it because like it's fun and it's the way you get through. It's not good. I think the way we fix it, I think, you know, everyone's talking about the turret being overpowered or whatever. I think we take boost off of it. I think that if this item doesn't have boost, it's a balance. The boost is what like propels you through builds. Take that away and we're good.
I was just going to try to find the user who posted it on Reddit, but I was reading it the other day and I'm going to butcher this a little bit because I don't remember it exactly. But his comment was take away the ability to jump out of them and dive bomb. So that if you're in the plane, you have to land the plane, or if it explodes, you get to parachute out. But if it explodes, you're taking the damage. Right. So either you're taking the damage or you're landing the plane. And also, I can't remember what his suggestion was. If for every panel of build that you smash through, 10% of the health.
Sure.
So on your average smash through, that's like 6, 7. Your plane's pretty much done. Yeah. 100%. And you're more likely going to get shot out and you either have to land that bad boy or, and I was like, that's actually a pretty effective strategy in my mind, because right now one of the problems with it is I can just jump out. Like I can just jump in a plane, boost upward, and maybe your boost idea is a good idea. Boost upward and just jump off, and it's basically redeploy for free. So that's definitely a problem with it, and it takes repositioning too far. You have to take it from a quad crasher to a golf cart. This is what I was saying. Like the golf cart fits the game still okay. Yeah, it's just really a transportation method to help you out in the storm and do some things. Like it's useful. It's functional. It fits the game without breaking it. Whereas the quad crasher like really pushes the line, and the plane, as you say, flies right over it. And they need to bring the plane back into ATK territory. Yeah. Like it needs to just be purely transportation with some risk.
Definitely. And like I understand why they add boost to this thing. There are some very awkward moments when you're trying to get out of something where like the boost destroying buildings actually gets you back into the air, right? So maybe there's adjustments where the thing has boost on takeoff and that's it.
Yes, exactly.
Or like, I understand it destroying some builds, right? If you go through a tree or something, you should be able to destroy it. Maybe a couple of builds you can drive through. But like, if you could only go through like 2 walls and then you get stuck. So if you fly into it and then someone's build and you're stuck in their builds because of it, I think that's a good place. It is, to me, it's the boost that destroys it. And dude, it's point they've got to do something, because I just feel nothing when I play this game now. Like I don't get any excitement, any like reward. I don't feel rewarded for even like 18 kill games. I'm like, yeah, but like 6 of those, I just kamikaze people, bro.
It's funny because like it's either side of it too. When you're on that side, I as I say, I feel guilt when I kill people like that. Or if I'm on the back side of it, like I'm having a really good game, it's really intense, and I'm having a good time, and I feel like it's normal. And then all of a sudden, a plane look at me, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that happened. Yeah. Like I don't feel like I got outplayed. I just got dead all of a sudden. Yep. Because plane. And especially the players who decide to shoot at us while we're dealing with the planes. We know who you are, bro. You're not on the team, the good team. All right. Yeah. Let's rally the troops. Everyone who sees a plane, everyone stop fighting, look at the plane, blow that plane up, and resume. Like I'm sitting here dealing a plane for all of us. You're gonna take a sniper shot at me. 1, you didn't hit it, you goose. And then 2, now I have to deal with you instead of just thinking about this plane. Who are these people, bro? Oh, like it encourages like a toxic behavior. Like, get on the team. Do their parents not season their macaroni when they feed it to them, and like they're just
miserable because they're eating disgusting pasta. I don't know, dude.
That's sad. That's sad. I mean, I understand why they've got hate in their hearts if that's the case.
All right. One last thing I want to talk about for the state of the game. Healing items. I feel like healing items are something that have really evolved over the year. And I feel like they need to be adjusted. I don't
think anyone remembers when they didn't have minis. Remember when minis were added? That was a big deal.
Big deal.
And now I don't think people remember that they didn't exist once upon a time.
And I think my biggest problem in the game is minis. And I think they have the rules on minis because they were scared about changing core mechanics of the game, right? I think that minis are a product of January 2018, and they need to be brought in line with January 2019 because the way they operate is horrible, dude. It's horrible. I don't understand why there's a limit on how much they can heal up. I think there should be some major adjustments to the minis and the big shield. And what made me think of this was the limited game mode that we had where we only had half pots. And because there weren't minis on the ground, there's only half pots. I had way more shields that entire game because I was finding more half pots and just able to heal up. I think shields need a big adjustment, man.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. I like the idea that, just not having minis. It's so hard to wrap my head around, to be honest. Like, it's such a weird thing, especially when I'm in a point where I really want the pop-up cup style rules where I get heals on kills. I want that. So if you get rid of minis and you give me that, I think maybe I'm in a happy place. Like that, I don't know. That could work out really well for me. I get my 50 health, plus I use the 50 from the shield. It makes inventory management a lot easier because I know what's what. I don't have to make the decision. Okay, well, if I've got this many minis, should I give up for 2 slurps or should I don't know. It's.
And how many times do you find minis right after you pop a half shield? And now you got to find somebody who maybe has full shields because they found the same items in a better order than you did.
And in squads and duos, it creates that whole little I'll swap you this and you give me that, and that's boring. No one needs that in this game. Like, that's not what this game was about. It's not about inventory swapping, and that's what you end up doing, and that's kind of a nuisance.
I just feel like minis have become too convoluted. Something I would actually love, I would love for them to heal 25 health or 25 shields flat. Like, anywhere you can do it above 50. But let's take the stat count down from 10 to say 5, right? So you're carrying around 5 minis, but you can heal up all the way with them if you want. Like, something like that, I think would make life a huge quality of life thing, and you would be able to have more shields for more of the game and be able to be every engagement would be on a more level playing field.
Yeah, and see, that's interesting. I think the stat count is the key there because otherwise, why wouldn't you carry those instead of big pots? But they're more flexible. You're going to find them around, and they're still instantaneous. So there's a sacrifice you're making. You can get full shields with 5 of them, and actually a little extra, but you're losing those spots for big shields where we can get full shield. I don't know. That nerfs full shields a little bit too, though. I don't know. That's interesting. It's a weird spot, but I do think there's something to be done here. How do you feel about bandages maxing out at 75 then? Is that a problem for you still?
It's not the biggest problem in the world. I don't understand why there's a limit on 75. Why? Because I got engaged on, I'm punished with not being able to heal fully because I had to take a fight where someone's coming at me fresh with a full health bar. It's one of those things why do you get punished for fighting this game? Those are those little tiny things where I wish they would just rework heals overall. I love the slurp juice. The slurp juice was a beautiful change that was really smart, that was thinking out of the box. And I think stuff like that has to come everywhere in the game, especially with the increased third party. And we need to be able to heal more and faster. Because it seems pretty clear that they don't want to add the competitive rule set of shields on kills to the game, the core game mode. It just seems like they don't want to do it, or they would have done it by now.
So sad, by the way.
It really is.
Love it so much. I love it so much. Every time I play the pop-up and then go back to Fortnite, I'm like, oh yeah, my mat gathering is so slow and I don't get heals after I kill people, so I die instantly right after because I'm left with 5 health.
Yep.
Cool.
So I just think healing overall, if we're not going to have automatic health given to us or whatever it is, we need to have a evolution of the healing items in game because I just feel like they're too punishing.
I think it's time. I think you're right. January 2019. Let's update Fortnite. It's 2019. Fix your heels.
New year.
You're operating on old rules, baby. Bring it back. Bring it on back. Speaking of 2019, the fish stick came out.
The fish stick came out to the game.
Yeah, end of 2018 to cap it out. And I know you're in love with it.
Is there a better skin that's been added to this game since Recon Scout? I don't think there is.
I'm not buying fish stick. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's hilarious. I love where they're pushing it, but I think this is further confirmation that we're getting aquatics. You know what I mean?
It's gotta be, man. Like if we don't,
2019 is it the land of aquatics? Is the flood finally rising? What's happening?
Oh my god, are you really gonna take this and brand it that
Yeah,
hard?
of course I am. How can I not? Come on, get out of my face.
I will never be dropping in that POI ever. I think they're gonna take shifty shafts and make it into an aquatic zone.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I keep thinking that Greasy's going to come back as an underwater zone.
I don't
because it's already iced over and it'll just be wet now, and I'll just get it. You know,
man, that's hopeful thinking, but I don't think Greasy's coming back. If it is, it's weird because the polar peak is right above it, and that's two really big POIs right next to each other.
Yeah, but it's a water POI. Like, I don't know how water is going to work. Like, are we actually going to be able to go in water, like, and swim? Is it going to add a swimming mechanic?
I think we are.
Like,
they seem to be like they take other game mechanics they think work from other games, and Call of Duty has underwater fighting, and it's like great. It feels good. It feels fluid. Pardon the pun, but I really think that we're going to be able to go submerged. And I think Shifty is going to be where they put it.
See, I think that's why you can get away with having Polar Peak and Greasy right beside each other, because one is elevated way up and one is literally underwater, which I'm assuming will work a little bit slower for looting, and it'll have some, like, there's some trade-offs to using it and being there. And I if they're going to add one, I don't think that'll be it. Like, they've got to add that one and another one somewhere else too. There can't just be one underwater. Well, I mean, I guess there could, but I feel like that's going to be really interesting. But there's definitely so many skins and stuff. And now with fish stick, like, I think we've got to be getting there, or at least we're going to have a fish stick themed food restaurant opening up with something.
Oh, how sad would that be? Because all the other ones are just mascots. This is a real fish that's running around.
I love how the description, like, keep him away from Maki Monster. That cracks me up, man. Like, it's so funny what they're doing. This is like literally, for me, this is the furthest. Like, the chicken guy was one thing, but this is like so much further. Like, they're really pushing where skins are good, are how their aesthetics, and it's so funny to me.
No,
it's
like,
so funny.
The chicken defender, that's a guy in a suit. Like, everything's been a dude in the suit. This is a fish that, like, you know, is radioactive. It can talk to us. It's Aquaman, bro. Like, the fish is real.
I love that it came out with the same weekend as Aquaman. Like, come on. It's so funny, dude.
Really
the Fortnite people, the people behind some of these decisions just crack me up, man. I love them.
Oh, and the planning, the fact that you're unlocking aquatic stuff in the battle pass the same week that fish stick is coming out. You got, like, if you don't think Epic knows us, they know us down to how much XP we get every day. Like, every day they know how much XP we're gonna get, and they know, they own our souls, man.
They've got the spreadsheet. They're doing the math. They know what's up. They know what's up.
So that's the state of the game. That's where we think everything is right now.
Ziplines. State of the game. Ziplines. We got to talk about ziplines a little bit before state of the game.
Ziplines. Aesthetically, not so much for me, right?
Yeah, they're ugly.
But functionally, I love them, man. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very good risk reward. There's a lot of places in the map where I'm like, man, I wish I had a zipline right here. So I don't know. I think they're going to go
glitching
away.
On me less.
They are glitching.
Nice. They're glitching less lately, I think. I still kind of feel like maybe an interaction button might be the key still. I don't know.
Everyone really wants the interaction thing, and I don't know if I guess I don't feel I don't feel the need for it like other people do, right? Because I feel like that's an interesting game mechanic where, oh, here's a zip line. I need to play this build fight a little bit differently. I like that. I just do. I know I'm out of line with the majority of people in the community. But
no, I don't hate that either. Like, just plan around it a little bit, like plan your drop a little differently. Like, you just have to think about it a little bit. There are definitely accidents that happen, which suck. And as I say, I was hoping that maybe the interaction button might take away the glitchiness, because sometimes it's still happened only one time recently. Because as I say, it's happening less, where I've jumped on and just been kicked right off and then fallen to my death. I'm like, why did it kick me off? I didn't press any buttons. Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Why do you hate me, zipline? And there's still some really fun interactions where I've been in fights where I've hit the zipline and then as I'm sliding away, finish the fight. Like, and I feel so cool. Like, I feel so action movie.
Finally.
And there's still it's the one time. Yes.
I'm coming, Instagram. Hold on, baby.
And there's still some definitely some rotations and movements that make some mountains a lot more useful and interesting. I think some of those areas around Paradise are a lot more useful and interesting now, because you can actually move around some of those mountains that previously were a nightmare. So at least it gives you some method. And as you say, there's a lot of risk reward to it, because, you know, you're out in the open, you're making a lot of noise. I don't know. I don't hate them, and aesthetically they do ruin the map. They're not as pretty as I'd like them to be, but
yeah,
I don't know. Ziplines are weird. I feel like they're going to go away, but we still need more movement mechanics then.
We do. I think one thing it shows is how badly the desert area is kind of designed, right? Because there are more zip lines there than anywhere else in the map. It's a nightmare.
Because you need them. Like pushing on someone in those mountains, like any of the other mountains, you can kind of work around a little bit better. Those desert mountains are so blank that and so steep that it's so rough to push and have to build. Like it's rough, man.
Yep. So I think they're really clever. We've always had a brand new movement mechanic in the game introduced between like the dark stones, the hop rocks, I'm sorry, the shadow stones. And this was like a very clever way to disguise like a new movement item, So I like them.
I thought they were good. I love the rifts still. I think the rifts everywhere are still kind of more.
I would like
probably my favorites, but
zip line item added to the game, similar to the grappling hook, where we could create our own zip lines. I think that would be the way they kind of like take these movement items and put it into an inventory slot. I think that would be an interesting one.
That would have to be so carefully balanced because that could get so absurdly overpowered so quickly. But it would be really neat. That'd be very Batman-y too. Like you shoot the hook, it lands, and then you can zzz to it. Like that'd be kind of there's something there. There's
the whole squad's going with us, baby. I'm not just grappling by myself.
That's pretty well, yeah. Especially in squad mechanics, one guy's always got to be a zipline guy for sure.
Yep.
Oh man, that's cool. All right, I like that. I'm interested in that. What do you guys think? Let us know.
Let us know what you guys think about the entire state of the game in the comments, man. We want to hear you guys and have a conversation where you think Fortnite's been over this last year. What you think's overpowered, what you miss. I know there's a lot of drum gun fans out there.
What do you want to see in 2019, baby?
Zipline items. It's gonna be beautiful. All right, that's going to do it for episode 19 of the Fortnite update. Thank you guys. It's been an amazing first year for us. We'll see you guys after the New Year's. Be safe, have fun, and see you on the next cast, everybody. Episode 20.
Drink responsibly, everyone. Yeah, like drunk, he's going good. Have a great night, guys. Bye.
Later.